The team at ITN Productions are pleased to announce that we're partnering with the Chemical Industries Association to create a programme to improve understanding of the work done by chemical companies, solutions for our future. And to tell us more, I'm joined by Steve Elliott, the Chief Executive of the Chemical Industries Association. Very good to see you. Thank you very much for coming in and talking to me. Now, the chemical industries touch on almost every aspect of our lives, don't they? How can you get that message across to people that you really do have an enormous value in society?
It's true, Natasha, yes. The industry has a huge economic and a social value. We're contributing something like £18 billion a year in terms of the value. The turnover is about 50 billion for the whole industry. And we're providing a lot of good, well-paid, intellectually challenging jobs in parts of the country that often need them. From the moment you get up in the morning to the moment you rest your head at night, you touch chemistry and chemicals, from the ingredients in the toothpaste, the shampoo, the refrigerants to keep your food fresh. You step into the car, the tyre safety materials. So it's everywhere, and literally the cars don't run, the planes don't fly, and the medicines don't work without chemicals and chemistry. But the challenge is, as you say, is how do we convince people of that message more? And I think it's a combination of things. I think it starts at school. I think it starts with the teaching of STEM subjects. I think it starts with engaging primary school children in the world of science and just that question about why does this work or how does this work. I think it then moves to leadership in our industry. Chief executives stepping up and speaking proudly about their business and the solutions they provide. I think it's also about young leaders coming through who perhaps engage better with today's society as well. And I think it's partly about initiatives such as working with ITN Productions just to promote all the good things that we do and can do.
Like all sectors, Brexit is on the horizon and it is a concern. Do you feel it is an opportunity for the chemicals industry, or are you concerned about what might happen?
I think since the day of the vote, we've been concerned because 60% of all of our exports go to the continent and 75% of all our imports of chemicals come from the continent. So we're very dependent on two-way trade and making sure that trade stays as least disruptive as possible. So I think what has happened over the past 12, 18 months is that we're much better positioned and profiled opposite the government about how important we are, not just because we like to think that ourselves, but some of our customer industries also want the reassurance that the chemicals and the chemistry they need will not be disrupted. So I'm worried still about the outcome. But I'm happier now that the industry is in a better position to make its case to government. And I think now it's a question of, getting on with the job and trying to deliver what we would say is the least disruptive outcome in terms of, no tariffs, minimal delays at borders, making sure our regulatory systems stay very close to each other, and making sure we can access the skilled people and workforce that we depend on.
And I might add to that, also showing people, allowing them to see how many different employment opportunities there are across the spectrum.
Absolutely, yeah. There's 150,000 direct jobs in the industry, about 500,000 if you include all of those where there's an indirect dependency. Chemists, chemical engineers, but not just chemists and chemical engineers. There's lawyers, accountants, HR professionals, safety advisors, occupational health advisors, apprenticeships right through to postgraduates and professors. So there's a very wide range.
So there are endless opportunities for employment, but how do you actually encourage people to get involved in the sector?
Yeah, I think there are a number of ways to bring people into employment in our sector. I think it starts with maybe better careers advice. There seems to be a tendency with science-based subjects that they're difficult. You perhaps want to think about doing something else. So I think it starts with teachers, and I think it starts with careers advice. I think we've also looked to ourselves. We have something called a Future Forum. These are all the early careerists in our industry. So that's more a message about, well, don't trust me, as an old fogey in the industry. Listen to someone who's very recently joined it and joined it in many different ways to talk about their very recent relevant experience and their aspirations as well. And I think the other thing as well is employers need to sell solutions and exciting careers rather than you are coming here to produce product A or product B. And I think that relates quite often to younger generations wanting to understand whether businesses and sectors they're joining are sustainable, what are they contributing to society and to some of the global challenges we have.
You've already referenced this new partnership, but hopefully that will also help to reach people who may not know much about your industry.
Yeah, that's true. And I think this partnership is very timely because we've only just received from the government a new industrial strategy. That's based around some very big grand challenges, the fact that we are looking at an aging population, we need more clean energy, the role of digitization. Those are many challenges that the chemical industry can respond to. And if we only look at 100 years ago and to today, we're getting close to almost double the life expectancy for males and females. So all of those things bring challenges, but I think they also present exciting opportunities for chemicals, companies and chemistry.
And finally, how do you feel the chemicals industry is placed within the negotiations? Is it given enough of a priority?
I think it is now, yes. I would have worried at the outset, but we work very closely with our European body. We have a joint message which is about let's minimise the disruption. Our industry's biggest customer is itself. We're typically very classic business to business. So damage to one side more often than not will also mean damage to the other side of the channel as well. So there's a vested interest in making sure we collectively secure that minimal disruption.